Welcome to the pod. Heard it's good, didn't watch. I'm Sam.
And I'm Andrew.
This is the podcast where we watch and discuss movies from roughly 2012 to 2020. Also known as the pump and dump period for Hollywood. Not exactly a golden age, but definitely time of high fertility for Tinseltown.
So fertile, in fact, that we did not see many of the movies produced. So if they're good, they're bad, or just meh, we're going to cover it all. If we heard about it and didn't watch it, well, now we're going to.
And today we're covering 2015's Pan, directed by Joe Wright, starring Hugh Jackman, Garrett Hedlund, and Rooney Mara.
And one little boy.
One little boy.
One little boy.
Which is Levi Miller, I believe.
Levi Miller. Let's pull. Yeah, Levi Miller. Levi Miller is his name.
And we basically follow Peter, this orphan from wartime World War II era London, in search for his mother. And it just so happens, while he's looking for the truth surrounding his mother, he's kidnapped by pirates in the orphanage, seemingly by the nuns that are running the orphanage. Kind of just let him go.
I think it's like a.
Like a deal.
I'm saying this early, but I think it's like a sex trafficking thing. Like, what do they know about it?
They just I think.
Also, how are the Nazis involved? Because it's vaguely World War II. I mean, we know there's bombings, but like.
Well, that was my initial hook. I was like, okay, World War II.
Hook.
Oh. Didn't even do it on purpose. So Peter gets kidnapped. He ends up in Neverland, right?
Where he finds out he's the chosen one.
I was just gonna say where he's the apparent messiah for Neverland.
There's some a strong Star Wars prequels vibes in this movie.
And that's not entirely a compliment.
No, not at all.
And, as he's the messiah, he will liberate the native population there?
From Blackbeard.
From Blackbeard?
From the feared real-life pirate, Blackbeard.
All along the way, he will learn to have some belief in himself.
And learn to fly! That's pretty much it.
That's what we're talking. That's the film we're talking about today.
That's Pan. Honestly, we could do a 5-minute podcast on this one.
I think we're done.
Yeah, Pan. Yeah, and let's say the critics panned it, but we loved it. We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yes, this movie actually came out on October 9th, 2015, 1 week after The Martian. 1 week after The Martian, which was a big sentimental, formative movie for me. I love Donald Glover. He was my into The Martian because he's in the. You remember that he's playing a British guy in The Martian.
I always thought he was British from that moment.
Yeah, there's also another actress in this movie that is American playing British that we can talk about later. But yes. Yeah, but The Martian was huge for me. I saw that opening weekend. I might have saw it. I honestly probably saw it for my birthday. So that was like a big release for me. So needless to say, I did not see Pan when it came out. How about you?
I did not see Pan either. I mean, when I was watching this film this week, I was like, oh my God, I was 13 years old when this came out. Why was I not watching Pan? And then I kind of thought about it. Like you said, we were in 8th grade. Yeah. And by 8th grade, I think we're too old.
Too old for Peter Pan.
If we were the right age to see Pan, we would have seen Pan.
This is the first movie or property involving Peter Pan I have probably seen in 20 years.
Wow.
I don't have a lot of love for the whole Peter Pan thing. I don't have a love for the Disney original. I didn't care when they did that stage show with Allison Williams and Christopher Walken live on NBC. I have no desire to watch anything Peter Pan.
Wow. I hard disagree. I mean,
really? He was not sentimental.
I have a soft spot for Peter Pan. I mean, Peter Pan, the Disney cartoon, was a big one for me. Of the old school Disney stuff, Peter Pan was huge.
Oh, the Jungle Book guy.
I like Jungle Book too, but it's not even like Peter Pan. I was obsessed with Captain Hook.
Oh, I can totally see that as a formative thing for you.
For me, I loved the Joker from Batman, and I loved Captain Hook from Peter Pan. I liked these weird villain characters.
Yeah. So you're more flamboyant 60s Joker, not you're gonna shoot a woman in Paralyzed or in Killing Joke Joker. You're more you're animated.
Yeah.
You belong on Super Friends. Yeah.
So I was definitely aware of this movie when it was released. I mean,
Oh, totally. I remember the trailer.
I remember that I rewatched the trailer in preparation for this pod, and in my memory, the spoiler alert, "Smells Like Teen Spirit" is sung in this film quite prominently.
I don't think I knew that. So
You didn't know that?
So that was a big surprise for me.
Because I remember that being like a kind of a memorable thing around the release of the film, and I thought it was in the trailer, but it's not. So I don't know exactly where I would have heard that. Maybe in the film discourse.
Yeah, the film discourse.
time.
Yeah, you're 14 years old. Well, you know what else came out this week?
What?
Number one hit, What Do You Mean by Justin Bieber.
Ooh.
So I was probably listening to that. And you know what premiered literally 2 days after this came out?
What?
Season 6 of The Walking Dead.
Oh,
So
I was
that's-
definitely watching that.
That's what I was locked into
Yeah,
at this
right,
period of my
right.
life. It was not Peter Pan. It was not baby shit. I
We
was
wanted TVMA.
yeah. Which was season 6? Was that the season where Glenn died, or was that 7? 6? No.
It could have been.
6 was when Glenn had his death faked. He like got you thought he got eaten
like
in the
fell
horde
yeah,
and
he
fell in the
fell off
dumpster,
the dumpster
and then he got killed like 5 episodes later.
in the most awful way.
Maggie. But that haunts me. I love Stephen Yeun though.
Yeah.
What if he was in this movie?
I mean, some more representation in this movie would have been acceptable, I think.
We talk about that later. But if he was Captain Hook, and I like the guy playing Captain Hook, Garrett Hedlund.
You like Garrett Hedlund, or you like his
I like Garrett
performance
Hedlund
as Hook?
I like Garrett Hedlund. I don't necessarily like his performance, but imagine if that was Stephen Yeun.
That probably
Why
be
not?
Cool.
You bring that jupe energy to that.
The jupe energy.
The jupe energy.
Well, he's definitely doing like an Indiana Jones.
Oh, 100% Indiana Jones.
It's like actually offensive. to
There's
Indiana
so
Jones.
much of this movie that is just taking things from other movies and just like throwing it at the wall, like to an extreme degree. Well, I feel like we just get in that conversation now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to start off, actually, you know what? Let's save your official score for the ending. But I'd like to say that I rented this on YouTube.
You rented on YouTube.
And
Okay.
Yeah, and it was auto locked at 480p. There was no way for me to change the quality, and I don't think I really missed anything either. Like I was like, oh, I can get 720. I was like, so for that I'm curious. Is that like Warner Brothers sends out whatever the digital copies, and they probably just like sent the SD version, and no one's like really like, oh shit, we don't have Pan and HD up on streaming. Like,
Well, this I don't know where it ranks in terms of like box office bombs, but this was not like a smash hit.
no, it
for
did not make
Warner
money.
Brothers.
No, it did not make its budget back. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Roughly, it did not like a lost price somewhere like 1 to 200 million.
I don't want to stomp on my research later, but Joe Wright, the director, pretty critically acclaimed director. Atonement, which we like. After he makes Pan, he's so devastated by the box office failure that he almost like walks away from directing completely.
Really?
It's a lot to pull together. The costumes, the sets.
You also have a feeling that like this probably wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
When something is this bad for such a capable director, you get a feeling that there is some interference from outside sources. You know what I mean?
And I think a lot of the movies that we're going to talk about on this podcast are kind of like victims
Yeah.
of the system.
Absolutely.
And the studios and
But
one thing
maybe we watch a good one next week though.
Well, my hope, I was telling our sound mixer Bash before the show, I was like, I really wanted this to be good. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
I wanted it to be like a hidden gem. Like, oh my God, guys, 10 years ago this came out and everybody hated
It's camp
it.
now.
Yeah, it's fucking like Hugh Jackman is camp. Like, it's great. Hugh Jackman is not camp in this film.
I do have one tangent to say about Hugh Jackman. I don't know if you saw this because you're not online, but there was like an older woman who had an affair with a Hugh Jackman a fan account that was pretending to be Hugh Jackman.
Oh my God.
And she's been like going like scorched earth like on Twitter, being like Hugh Jackman's a cheating slut because now he's having the affair with Sutton Foster, whatever her name is.
Okay.
A Broadway star. So she's like scorched earth. She's like, I was his first affair. He loved me.
Wait, so she's under the impression that she was literally having an affair with Hugh Jackman?
She was fully under the impression that she was under his spell, and she posted all their DMs, and it's like really embarrassing. Like she has to see his balls and stuff like that.
Oh my god.
And yeah, so she's like, he's a pig, and she's tweeting
Twitter.
at him like every single day, like, oh my god, you broke my heart. So that's what's my mind of Hugh Jackman right now. He's a cheating pig who broke this old woman's heart.
Dang. Have you come to kill me, Peter?
I do want to talk about that later. But here's where I thought we should start a discussion maybe. What is with the obsession to give a new light or context to an older story that's already established?
I was just going to talk about this. Like, classifying this movie under that umbrella of... I think it's one of the first lines of the movie. Where it's like... This isn't the story you've heard before. That's like the voiceover in the beginning of the movie.
That's like always setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, I groaned when...
Yeah.
I think it's Amanda Seyfried is doing the voiceover at that point. As Mary.
With her insane parkour. Amanda Seyfried does a British accent and parkour in this movie.
While also holding a baby in her arms? Because she literally like scales this fence like insane. And then the next shot is her... placing this baby gently down on the ground, and it's like,
and she's human too. Like she's not a fairy or.
Well, I think she does have like fairy capabilities,
but
if I'm not mistaken.
But that's because she married and had sex with a fairy.
Oh, the way they talk about it is really creepy. They're like, to share love with a human girl and a fairy prince.
He takes physical form one day, and I'm like, so is he like super fertile? Like he had one shot to make the Messiah, and he did it. Which is respect to him, I guess, but I guess fairies are really fertile for that one day.
Yeah.
For one day, fairies' balls are so full.
Yeah. So you know what you're getting into when they say, this isn't a story you've heard before, and the movie is called Pan, and it's like the story of Peter Pan.
But this was a trend. I mean, because they made that Robin Hood movie in 2010 with Russell Crowe, which like was originally going to be like a different take on Robin Hood, and it kind of becomes the same thing. But it's like that. It's that need to to retell these classic stories over and over again. But also, it's also in the same vein as like Solo, where it's like it's trying to give context to. I'm like, I didn't need Captain Hook's origin.
I didn't need to know. Well, also, what I'm kind of upset about, because
there's no origin.
They don't answer, like, as soon as the movie starts, I'm like, okay, like, I'm going to watch Pan, and I'm going to find out. Again, they allude to it in the voiceover. They're like, enemies were sometimes start as friends. And you're like, oh my god, like, this movie is going to climax in, like, this crazy betrayal.
Yeah.
Where Captain Hook is going to become, like, the villain. But no.
He's just a good guy.
He's just a good guy throughout.
And Shmi even is like...
Shmi is one of the worst characters in this film. I think his name is Sam Smigel. Like, that's his character's name. And he's Shmi.
Shmi.
And
yeah.
He's the most... I mean, my take is...
He's very 2015.
Yes. And a lot of this is very 2015, which I think is kind of another reason to do this pod is, 10 years later, we're kind of starting to see the cracks about what actually makes a 2015 style movie.
But they do that, and they give two of the iconic lines to the henchman of Blackbeard.
Yeah.
And like he goes, and away we go. So the trafficker gets that line, and that inspired Peter Pan. But in the sense that it's doing the Solo thing of like what's your name, kid? Han. And your clan?
Yeah, it's like
nothing.
So
Han Solo then. Like there's no...
It's so boring.
in the same way that they've like tried to do like Scrooge movies over the year. We don't need to see him in his 20s. We get the perfect idea of Scrooge through those flashbacks in the original story. In the same way that like you don't need to figure out why Peter Pan hates Captain Hook and vice versa. This is like an endless war and their adversaries, and it just like they fit together so perfectly. You don't need to be like, yeah, he was like a father figure to him.
Well, but also if you get everybody together and you make the movie, at least have a crazy ass scene where Captain Hook loses his hand to a crocodile.
One crocodile in this, and he's scared off by Cara Delevingne.
Oh, we're gonna talk about her.
Yeah. 0 lines, and she was famous. And already at this point.
I was looking into it because I was so baffled when I saw her pop up on screen three times. I think she plays
like 5 different mermaids.
She plays multiple mermaids, and I was like, why is she in this? And apparently, she had her first like minor film role was in Anna Karenina, directed by Joe Wright.
Yeah, and then she would go into great success with roles as the Enchantress in David Ayer's Suicide Squad and Luc Besson's Valerian in 1,000 Planets.
I was wondering if Valerian would pop up on this feed.
I would love to do Valerian. Maybe we do Valerian. Because I know John Goodman's in it, and he's like instant sell for me.
I think she's like the co-lead in that.
Yeah, it's her and Dane DeHaan. It's two people that look very similar, that had very similar... I don't want to say they had failed careers, because they're still working. Dane DeHaan's good in Oppenheimer. She's good in Only Murders season 2, I think she's in. But like, two people that Hollywood was like, yeah, this is going to be this is our next generation, and they just did not happen. There is a lot of people in this movie that probably people thought would be Hollywood's, like, next generation.
Yeah.
Also, this is maybe the most digital looking movie I've ever seen in my life.
That is my biggest critique and gripe, is the conceit of making a movie about Peter Pan, which is all about, as Hugh Jackman himself says in the press tour, he's like, childhood wonder. Like, it's all about childhood wonder. It's Joe Wright really has a grasp on it.
This is a childhood nightmare.
It's a childhood nightmare. Like, it's CGI like black everywhere.
Are there any like practical? Or no, there are practical sets, but they have like a CGI layer to them. You know what I mean?
It's all,
digitally
extended and blown up to be. You could have isolated moments that kind of like the stuff in the mines, I think, looks pretty cool. It kind of has like that Skull Island, like Great Adventure type feel where it's like,
yeah,
it kind of feels again like that practical sense. But like when the ship is like flying and when Peter is like flying around, like it looks like Polar Express,
but in a bad way, because Polar Express looks incredible. Well,
let's make that known here for our viewers. Polar Express is a masterpiece.
We should just do that in the pod just for fun. I honestly think the best looking set is maybe the orphanage. It does a really good, like job of capturing like 45 in London. Like it's very grim and bleak, and it looks cool.
I really liked the first 20 minutes.
I put it on 1.5 speed for a second.
What? On purpose?
No, like by accident. Oh. But then it was when they were breaking into the nun's office. And it felt like a Benny Hill bit, like a little bit more. I was like, this is kind of fun. Start the movie. So Peter is an orphan. He was abandoned by his mother, played by Amanda Seyfried. Like I said, she's doing parkour. She's a British accent, and he's kind of doing the Oliver Twist type thing. He's a sad orphan alone.
He's like, what? He's like, where's our bacon? I thought we were.
Oh yeah, we should get bacon.
And she's like, dearie, there's a war going on. Rations, don't you know?
And fair enough, but like, are nuns bad people? I don't know. I don't know your history with nuns. If you knew any nuns, if you spent time with them,
it's actually
every nun in a movie is like the worst person of all time.
My great grandfather was an orphan, and he was in an orphanage,
really
ran by nuns, and they were batshit crazy.
Yeah.
So this checks.
Okay, so it's like yes, so it's not Haydn. Like there is some truth in nuns just being like the worst people that ever existed.
They're crazy. And in this movie, again, I had the captions on because I was like, I had a feeling there would be some convoluted elements to this film.
Sure.
They're not going to make us. It would be silly for me to think that they could make a simple, easy to follow Peter Pan prequel.
Okay, what were you confused about?
Why do the nuns? She says, "Goodbye, Peter," and she smacks Peter in the face.
She kicks him in the face, right?
And then he's taken by the fucking pirates, which I thought was actually one of the cooler set pieces.
Really cool. Them jumping down.
It's like old school. Like Peter's in bed. He's like trying to go to sleep. He's like, well, first of all, they're hiding in that closet.
Yeah.
Why are they hiding in that closet?
So they can see what's happening. Because they're like, kids don't get adopted in the middle of the night. Like, yeah, like. Wow, like, are you the first people who realize this? Or are all the nuns involved in this? Is it only the head nun? Also,
it's a conspiracy.
It was really cool that they went into her office and they twisted the nose. She's hoarding gold. She has treasure down there. And
they're eating the marmalade and they're eating all. At one point, he has this bag and it just looks like ground up something and Peter's just eating.
She has ground beef in there. She has everything in there.
I found raw I do love him and his little buddy.
Yeah, so did I.
What's his buddy's name? It's like Ribs? Riblet?
Yeah, Ribs. Yeah, that sounds right. But they kind of like... I do think they make the smart decision pretty early on. We don't have room for 2 kids in this movie. So Ribs like gets like thrown off the pirate ship or whatever and lands... There are so many scenes in this movie where kids just land really hard on their head.
Oh my
like
god!
Ribs like face plants on like an old like
Hold
roof.
on, let me find out it's real. I don't think it's Ribs.
It's Ribs, don't you know? It's Ribs. Yeah, so he's an orphanage, and people are trying to get adopted, and they're going to Canada supposedly. So this is a fair point. I guess the nuns are selling. Oh wait, okay. Now it's making sense. I think she has all that gold because the pirates are like, here's gold for the kids. Because she's aware of what's happening.
Nibs.
Yeah, we were close.
Yeah, okay, so she's getting pirate. All right, that makes a lot more sense because he has like the fucking doubloons. And he's like, oh my god. I was like... I watched it. Yeah, like I watched this
movie gold in 1945 London like this.
I watched this movie at like midnight last night, and like he's like, "Oh my god, look at all these like doubloons," and I was like, "Okay." I just immediately bought into it. I was like, "Yeah, London, whatever."
Yeah,
but that makes sense.
I also watched it at 9 a.m. this morning, and it did not make sense. And my girlfriend was still asleep, and she woke up to me sitting on her floor with headphones on, watching Pan. And she was like mad.
Yeah, I mean, you probably should have watched it like in the bathroom.
Absolutely.
Door locked.
Yeah. Don't come in! I'm watching Pan.
Have you come to kill me, Peter? I remember that line from the trailer because it's actually quite a scary shot of Hugh Jackman. We should say Hugh Jackman is playing Blackbeard, kind of unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And a little spooky.
Yeah. So he gets kidnapped and he loses Nibs.
Yeah, because there's like this element where Nibs is like, come on, let's jump! And he literally falls like 5 stories and smacks on the fucking roof of the orphanage. And the way it's shot, like, it looks like he's gonna die. Like, he jumps off and it's like, that is so incredibly high that he's gonna like hit a chimney, like bust his head open. But he just kind of smacks it and he's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll be all right.
Yeah, and this is a plus for Joe Wright. It's like, he's having fun with it. Like, it's clear, even if it's not fun, he was maybe having fun. Like, he's moving the camera in interesting ways. He's, like, trying things.
I think this is the best sequence, because then you have the pirate ship, like, floating over wartime London. I don't know if you caught it in, like, the British war room. It's Emerald Fennell.
Oh, yeah.
Emerald Fennell is in there.
Dr. Promising a Woman.
And she's like, oh my god, like what? Hey, Mom, it's shaped like a pirate ship. And then they're like shooting the pirate ship.
Yeah, also...
in a pretty cool sequence, I thought.
I have a question about that. Were a lot of women in the Air Force war rooms? Okay, that is true. Because I knew, like, women were involved in World War II, obviously. I know, like, a lot more of the American side, but I was like... Is this doing like a revisionist history? Like, is this like his version of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Like he saved Sharon Tate, but like also
it's like Pan.
There's like 30 women who look exactly the same, all in military uniforms.
I think
that's what took me out of it. Maybe
it was more common in I think the UK.
But that's also what took me out of it. They all looked exactly the same. Just like 30 women in the same uniform with the same haircut and same hair color.
Yeah.
I was like, is this like a bit? Like,
and then
what is this?
And then they go, at the end of the sequence, there's a cool moment where it's like the ship goes up towards the sky and it keeps going up, up, up. And then the British fighters are like going up and then like the plane like stops and then they fall down. Yeah. And then suddenly they're in space.
And then Peter's like in space.
Floating around.
And I thought about maybe making that like a screensaver or making a Simpsons style like edit, like a Sad Boy Simpsons edit, like where Bart's in space or whatever, but like with Peter from Pan floating in the stars.
And I would say that's where the movie peaked for me.
Yeah,
it was pretty much downhill from there. once we enter Neverland.
I also have a question about Neverland, and maybe you'll have the answer, just maybe you won't. Why is it like Avatar? Why is it he's going to Pandora? Is that because of Michael Jackson? They want to like not have just like, oh, it's just like an island, like it's like a lost island. So was the thought like, oh, we'll make it like sci-fi or something?
I mean, in my memory, it's pretty true to the source material in terms of like Neverland being this like tropical destination.
Sure, but it's like a bunch of like the area is like a bunch of like floating balls in space.
Oh yeah. It's like the droplets.
Yeah,
but
and
they're
then they
like
go through it, and then it's like the double island. Like there's
big.
like yeah, right. Like
Again,
isn't it
like
a double island. Like there's like a like you see the island they're going to, and like a flip of it on the bottom.
along the same lines as like this CGI blick on the screen.
Yeah.
Like, when this stuff starts to transpire and the CGI ship is going through the CGI world, my eyes do kind of glaze over, and I'm just like, okay, they're going to Neverland, like whatever it is.
Yeah, I feel like you did avoid my question though. Is that because of Michael Jackson in any way? You think? Because this is a hard hitting podcast.
Potentially.
Because I feel like the idea of like bringing the boys to like an island called Netherland, like, was tainted at this point.
I mean, it's pretty creepy that that's what he called his estate.
And that's all we're gonna say on it.
That's all we're gonna say. Also,
I'm not touching that.
Anton Fuqua's Michael coming out soon.
Yeah, gotta check that out in theaters. So then they pull up to Netherland, and like this sequence, this is my favorite sequence of the movie. I am a sucker for a song in a movie. You know that. I like when it's performed by a cast. I think it's very fun.
Really?
I have no idea why they chose this song. It's not really even a sequence. And Hugh Jackman's like not trying. Who's an amazing singer. He's just like, here we are now.
It starts out in the mines because it's like all these kids and like, hello.
It's like, you better sing.
Hello. And it's like, oh my god, like, is this fucking Nirvana right now? And then you get like, I mean, we're gonna talk about this later, but Hook is a film I adore.
I've never seen.
You've never seen Hook?
Never seen Hook.
That's why you don't like fucking Peter Pan. You've
Absolutely.
never seen Hook.
Absolutely.
I saw Hook, probably when I should have at like, 8, 9. Like, I completely bought into it. But Dustin Hoffman plays Captain Hook in that film.
I did not know that.
Bro!
I now want to see Hook.
We should fucking stop recording and go watch Hook. But the way Dustin Hoffman is introduced in that movie, it's like, again, kind of similarly. It's like from behind. And he has all these, he's like, he's got his pirate boots and he's got the hook, and it's like hook. Like, it's a similar kind of build up, but it's more organic to the world of Neverland.
Yeah. Also,
instead of a fucking Nirvana song from 1991.
And it's Blackbeard.
But this is like a timeless
Blackbeard who's like immortal. Yeah. Why Blackbeard? That's also what I was wondering. They didn't like need to sell him as Blackbeard. He could have just been a pirate. You know what I mean? Like in the way like the Captain Barbossa is just a pirate. They didn't have to like oh well, people love Blackbeard, like, because that was not a selling point.
The Blackbeard IP.
He also doesn't have a beard. He's a fucking goatee. He's a goatee and he's bald.
He looks like in fleeting moments he kind of looks like Oscar Isaac in Ex Machina.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, this is also when my questions continue to arise, and we see a lot more of the CG slop. You see the mines, you see the pirate ships.
That's better. Yeah, the CG slop.
And you see the pirate ships, and you're like, what is this aesthetic they're going for? They're pirates, but also it's like steampunk.
This is another of my biggest gripes, and it's related to that steampunk like ugliness. For me, it's the costumes. The costume design in this film is atrocious.
Yeah. There's some men that have nice top hats on, then others just are pirates. Other ones are steampunk. Other ones are more weird and Victorian.
Yeah, it's like a nasty blend of intricate designs. I'm sure the craftsmanship at work from Jacqueline Duran, who did the costumes.
Nice pull.
She did Barbie. She did the Batman. She's got some cred, but it kind of falls into that same category as Wonka.
Sure. I think Wonka's a lot better than this, though.
The costumes?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I like his Willy Wonka outfit. I like the Keegan-Michael Key outfit for the police inspector.
I swear to God, the reason I turned off Wonka 20 minutes in was because of the costumes. And it gave me that same pit. I literally get a pit in my stomach when I watched Pan, because I was like, these costumes are so ugly to look at.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess. Yeah. Well, because I was like, yeah, of course, I love Wonka, the Willy Wonka costume, the one we all know, and then the police outfit. And I was like, I actually don't remember what anyone else is wearing in that movie, so I can't even be like,
well,
no, you're wrong.
I guess that's a similar movie we can talk about because it's like
it's trying to contextualize something we don't need
the
story
Willy Wonka
of,
prequel, which is also in universe with the world.
Gene Wilder,
the Gene Wilder IP.
Yeah,
which we got to cash in on.
Yeah, Timmy gets a lot hotter or uglier, kind of depending on what generation you're born in.
Well, I thought a lot about the Smells Like Teen Spirit stuff. And I was wondering if they put that in the movie because of nostalgia. Because of the parents who are taking 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds to go see Pan. Those parents are a little bit...
Is this a kids movie?
Oh, God, yeah.
You think so?
Like I said, if I had watched this as a 13-year-old, I would be way too old for it. I would not buy into it. But if I watched this a little bit younger, I think I would probably buy into it.
But I think that's the exact reason why it failed. There's like no audience for it. Like Peter Pan was not relevant in 2015. He's like, you know what I mean? Like also like no one like cares about Peter Pan like that like enough to see this. And I just think it's like a PG-13 vibe, but it's not. Or no, it probably is PG-13 because they like shoot people.
No, it's PG.
Wow.
Well, they get away with it because
they never showed anyone die.
When the natives get killed in this film, they blow up into beautiful like dust.
Well, he also like
which is so strange to me.
He'd push a kid off the plane who falls to his death and dies.
Yeah, we should talk about that. So there's like this first scene, like towards into this like first act into the second act.
Yeah, where
Peter
arrives in Neverland.
And they're mining for fairy dust,
which
or,
is like
fairy crystals.
Yeah,
bullshit.
Which is like the unobtainium, like from Avatar or whatever.
Yeah, so all the kids from all time, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of kids. I got echoes of Mad Max watching it for like the white face paint pirates where they're like, and they like grab the kid.
I have a hot take later that some people are gonna get really pissed off at me about. So we can save that.
Okay. But the kids are mining for this like fairy crystal thing, and Peter finds the fairy crystal. He's like, oh, I've got it! I found it! And then some like greasy pirate's like, I found it.
That's mine! So that was like very Star Wars to me too. Like there's a lot of dialogue in this that makes me think of Star Wars.
I liked moments of these
little thief.
Yeah, the peripheral pirates I thought were pretty cool. Like there's that one pirate with the long like straight blonde hair, and he looks kind of gnarled and scary.
Little short one too. That's always with Blackbeard.
And then
Peter's the mines.
So then Peter gets framed, and Peter's like, "You're a thief." So then Blackbeard's like, "Okay, I'll take care of him." So then they go up onto the ship, and they're like on the plank, like over this canyon, like so high up into the sky, it's actually ridiculous. And the one kid gets like pushed off, like and falls to his death, presumably.
Yeah, we don't see him die, but they 100% he's dead.
He kills this kid. And then Blackbeard kicks Peter similarly at the nun treated Peter. Peter's getting his shit rocked this entire movie. And he's falling. And then he's floating.
And everyone's like, oh. The chosen one.
And then he wakes up in Blackbeard's bed. Maybe this movie is cursed.
Yeah. But then also the prophecy is that whoever was the son of a human woman and a fairy would be the one who kills Blackbeard. Yes. So how old is Blackbeard that there's like a prophecy? You know what I mean?
I don't know. But there's this scary shot where Hugh Jackman kind of looks like the Babadook. And he's got like these creepy shoulder pads. And he's like looking at Peter. And he's really like making it scary. And my thing with him is like he's not scary enough. Like really not at all. Make him terrifying.
He does not have enough to do in this movie at all. There like are huge chunks where he's just gone.
Yeah, so Hugh Jackman is kind of at this interesting point where
Logan, he's pre-Greatest Showman.
Well, this movie is sandwiched between, I think, two other contenders for the pod. This movie is following Chappie.
Sure.
And
big contender.
After Pan, he's got Eddie the Eagle.
And he also has the Jonathan Nolan movie where he loses his wife and he goes through the memories and like You know what I'm talking about, right? Which is like a big stinker. Like it came out like March 2020 or something like that, and it was like an HBO Max movie with like him and like a insane cast, and it's like bizarre.
Bad Teacher?
Yeah, Bad Teacher. Yeah,
Bad Education. What is that?
No, he also has movie 43 too. So he was on a stinker run.
But I mean, I was looking at like the press stuff for this. Like he was selling the shit out of this movie. Like he
probably loved it.
He knows his job as a movie star. Like when you're on those interviews, you sell the movie. So childhood wonder, like Joe Wright really did it with this one.
I did that for Eddie Murphy recently. Like there is like there's a class of movie star that knows how to sell their movie. That like today it's like like that's why I didn't have respect for some of the cast of Mountain Web. Like we all know it's bad, but like like be professional. Like I watched Eddie Murphy on Seth Meyers be like, Axel F is like the best movie of my career, and it's not, but it's good. It's good, but he like was like, I'm like, okay, sure, Eddie, yeah, like you seem like you had fun doing this. Like you're professional, you're selling this movie.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the job. You know who's not a movie star?
Garrett Hedlund.
Garrett.
Yeah, let's talk about him. He's in the Joel Kidman type of actor where he works better as a supporting guy than as the lead of something. And I like Joel Kidman a lot too. Hedlund's really good in Triple Frontier.
I haven't seen it.
He's also really good in Tulsa King.
I was gonna
he's playing like a cowboy in Tulsa King. He's like really good in it.
I saw that he's in Tulsa King, and I was wondering what the phone call might have been if Sly had called Garrett.
Hey, I heard you do a few stickers like that. I mean, we were coming down to Oklahoma a couple of days with us. You'd be a bartender, be a little cowboy on the show. I think we love it. It'd be great stuff. No one's Captain Hook. You're the bartender, cowboy. Hey, keep punching.
Hey, keep punching, yeah.
Hey, keep punching or keep hooking. Hey,
I saw you.
I love Pan.
I saw you in Pan, and I just thought that was incredible work.
I saw you. I knew you had to be a cowboy. I was a cowboy with also Tulsa King.
I thought the film was just really smart because you had that hook in that one scene, and you put it on the wall right next to your head.
Yeah, I do. I love it. Here's the Ford. I mean, here's the Ford man Tulsa King. You know what about
that? Yeah, but he's doing Indiana Jones 150%. There's nothing original in that performance. And you know what I'll say? I liked a few of his one-liners. It's kind of that pre-Marvel, or in the middle of Marvel, I guess, like the quippy one-liners. And they're trying really
like to get out of here alive.
You're the princess. No, or yeah, that's me or whatever.
I'm actually a minor, but thank you.
Yeah. He's also doing like a voice.
Daniel Plainview.
He kind of is doing Daniel Plainview.
I'm a hook man.
Well, you see, I'm a miner.
I'm a miner. I'm a never-aging boy.
I love Tiger Lily.
Tiger Lily.
I love her so much.
We get to that in a second.
But also, Garrett Hedlund is not, in fact, Boyd Holbrook. As I may have thought.
No.
6 months ago when I watched.
He's the poor man's.
Holbrook. Because I was watching Inside Llewyn Davis. And Garrett Hedlund plays John Goodman's driver.
Oh, he is good in that.
And for the entirety of the movie, I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Boyd Holbrook is in Inside Llewyn Davis. This is awesome. And then I was like, who the fuck is Garrett Hedlund?
Yeah. So let's talk also my favorite, or my second favorite scene in the movie, when he talks to Peter about this prophecy. Peter has this prophecy, like we said, that he is going to be the one who kills Blackbeard. And because of like this flute on his neck, which is a pan flute, which I was like, what the hell is it? A flute? Why is it a flute? And I'm like, oh, pan flute.
Is pan a flute?
Yeah, type of flute.
I'm not well versed in my flutes.
I was in band for 4 years.
Right.
Yeah. But so this kind of incredible acting from Hugh Jackman. Peter, have you come to kill me? Or whatever he says to him.
That's my favorite isolated shot.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the only few close-ups in the fucking movie.
So many. It's so wide for so long.
That's why I got lost in the sauce just watching the movie. I mean, I would imagine Joe Wright had difficulty making these characters feel lived in and have us care for them, because I sure didn't.
Yeah, but it's also very reminiscent of the scene in Rogue One. I don't know if you remember this, but when they go to assassinate Saul Guerrera, and he sees Jyn Erso, his adoptive daughter, and as Forrest Whitaker goes, Jyn, have you come to kill me? and that's instantly what I thought of. I was
Maybe
like,
Rogue One needs a rewatch.
Rogue One could be done with this pod too.
When did that come out?
2016.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's right in there.
definitely. Here's my hot take too. A lot of this movie looks very similar to a good movie. It looks a lot like Furiosa. I'm not as high on Furiosa. And I know you're not either. I love Fury Road. I love George Miller. Furiosa is good, not great. It looks bad.
Well, my thing with like
in segments.
Yeah. Like, I think part of what makes Fury Road so cool is the practicality of it. And
sure.
Especially in like...
It's very digital, the Furiosa. In a way, the Furiosa,
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that it is also that way in Fury Road, but it blends a lot better.
Yeah.
This movie has zero blending of anything.
In some of the research I found, like a lot of the stuff in like the jungles was like shot in Vietnam.
Wow.
Well, no. The plates were shot in Vietnam.
Oh, sure.
And then it was digitally inserted when they shot it at fucking Pinewood or wherever they did it.
There's one shot in this movie. It's of Tiger Lily, who we'll talk about soon. And she's at the sunset or sunrise of her and Hook. And it's legitimately like the worst looking shot I've ever seen. Like her face is like so overlit. And this like there's no subtlety, no shit. Beautiful sunrise or sunset, whatever. And it's digital, obviously. I guess they like put all the floodlights on her, but she's like so overblown. And it looks terrible. It looks terrible.
It looks bad.
Yeah.
That's why I really got, especially by the end of this film, which has, as expected, like a third act CGI blob mess.
Looks like nothing.
Just like these two pirate ships plummeting towards the ferry
in a crystal
hive.
cave. In a crystal cave that is like so gray.
Yeah, so these ships are just like moving constantly for like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
As all this random stuff is happening.
Yeah.
And that's when I really get tired of the film.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I lost interest in the last 20 minutes. You know, as we see Blackbeard, he's threatening Peter. He throws him in jail. I thought the easier option is to kill him, but you know, it's not my life, Blackbeard. And then he gets broken out by Hook, and Hook and Shmi then like flee the thing, and they even throw the line, "He's a lost boy." Like, okay, whatever.
I have a list of all the references that I caught.
There's a lot.
I mean, they're not hard to find. They're very obvious, like a lot of that solo stuff we were talking about.
This movie moves so fast.
Yeah,
and choppy. And I wonder if they like just cut out like 40 minutes of this because it's so quick. Imagine. Nobody has a single thing of growth. Nobody has any like you don't know a single thing about these characters by the end of it. There's one conversation between like Tiger Lily and Hook, and that's like the only like thing you just say like, oh, like this is a character moment or them trying like to bond and build a relationship.
And they don't even.
No, they have zero chemistry. They have negative chemistry. And the world building's terrible too. Like what is this place? We see like 5 different places. I'm just kind of ranting now, but there's like so much that I'm like, you're on this whole island and you see the natives place, you see the mines, you see the ship, and then you see the crystal cave. You're in 4 places on this whole island. It's just be this huge adventure.
It's weird because it's like so busy and it's got that CGI glop, and it's like, but it actually doesn't do a lot with the concept.
Really, the only thing it does is like the Netherbirds.
Oh yeah,
which look terrible, but
crazy looking things.
They look terrible, but I appreciate what he was going for.
The like half rendered like bone CGI birds with the googly eyes.
Yes. So these are birds that kill people but don't kill anybody. They're very dangerous and giant and they're kooky, scary birds.
I'm sorry, what are they called?
The Neverbirds.
The Neverbirds. Yeah. I just wrote down CGI bone bird.
Yeah, CGI bone birds. Yeah, it's kind of in the vein of Dry Bones from Mario, but like worse looking. And that's like the only thing we see on the island that's like, like a creature or a native or like an obstacle for them like that.
The natives are.
Whew. Yeah, so right after we see the Neverbirds, they, they accidentally find the natives.
How do they get there?
They're in the jungle running because the ship crashes and they see the Neverbirds and they're getting chased by Neverbirds and then they run into the natives. And it's the funniest thing. I laughed out loud so hard when someone's like, "Oh, we found the natives," and the camera pans up and it's Rooney Mara.
I have that.
It's the whitest woman ever.
It's
like in full Native American headgear.
It's
and like,
so funny. It's like, I knew we'd find natives, and it's like Rooney Mara's feet, and then it pans up and it's fucking.
you're like, oh, it's
Rooney
getting whiter.
Mara.
It's getting. Oh, wow. And to be fair,
maybe one of the most white people I know.
Yeah, you know personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, she started dating Joaquin Phoenix within a year of this coming out. So, do you think he like saw her in Pan and was, I got her, I want to date her, I want to marry her.
Tiger Lily.
I like her.
Her father, the chief. Well, my thing with this is like, okay, like the original Disney film has its problems.
Yeah.
With the way it portrays Native Americans. That's who we're seeing in Peter Pan. This movie is, I guess, technically better than that because it's not even. It's just
non-white people.
It's just blanket Native, and it's like if you look at the costumes and the face paint, like it's a lot of different cultures, kind of blended together, which I guess is better, but still kind of strange to watch. And the chief has a cool moment right before he dies, killed. Blackbeard's like, "Oh, do you have anything to say?" And he's like,
"Death is the best adventure."
He's like, "Yeah, death is the greatest adventure." And then he fucking dies, and I'm like,
"Oh,
that's like some cold shit to say on the way out." Just like, and Rooney Mara's like teary eyed, like crying. Like,
I also thought they were gonna give like the natives a song, so I was like, "What do they get? Like Fade Into You?" like Matthew Star or whatever.
Some 90s jam.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, like when the natives there's a crazy scene where Blackbeard like descends on the native tribe, and
because
they're killing
Shmi.
They seem like they're killing them, but they just like they blow up into these bright. I thought that was a cool visual. Like,
I guess they didn't want to tackle the dangers of colonialism and like in Pan. So like, no, they don't die.
They just blow up into fucking
color. They blow up into dust. Fade into you.
That would have been cool.
Also, we didn't talk about the fact that, like we said, Blackbeard is hundreds of years old, and there's this one really cool shot of him as like an old man. He's like huffing. He's huffing the fairy dust like he's Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet.
Frank Booth. He's like, Blackbeard wants to fuck.
Peter, come here.
Hey, shithead, Peter. Pabst Blue Ribbon.
And that's the only time that that's the only time that actually has any relevance or screen time in the whole movie. He doesn't die from that.
What does he say? He's like one of the guys like knocks on his door. He's like, "Don't interrupt me when I'm
watching Pan. Watching Pan in the bathroom."
But there's like it is like a cool like it's like a. Like the mask has like some webbing to it, and he's like he kind of drapes it over his face. He's like, and he takes it off, and he's young again. And I was like, I want to see that. I thought again, that's kind of like a Vader thing. Like I wish we had seen more of that, specifically at the end.
Also, he's wearing a wig. He's bald the whole time too. He's wearing this insane wig, like he's out a Lazy Town, like that show.
Yeah,
like
Robbie
it's
Rotten.
Robbie Rotten, and also there's a fight at the native tribe. And it's Hook versus this acrobat. Because for some reason, every character in the movie is an acrobat for some reason. Mm-hmm. And then the raid happens. And they find out that Peter is like they're like, oh, we know that you're the guy because you have this pan flute necklace on your neck. Like, they couldn't do like a birthmark. Like, I feel like there's something like...
But they're even skeptical. They're like, well, you have to fly in 3 days or else we're going to kill you.
But it's like literally like... It's like 6 hours later. He comes Peter Pan.
And he's like, I can't do it. I can't
believe
fly.
In yourself. I will say, I also think the third cool scene in this movie is when they just do an animation.
I was just going to cite this. The memory tree.
Really cool.
The memory tree is one of the cooler scenes where it's like, this is our memory tree. And it's like, I think it's digital, but they make it look like it's stop motion.
Yeah.
And the tree, it's like paper, but it looks like water. Like, it was actually...
This is the info dump of the movie, which is like, I'm like, okay, sure, at least they're going to do an info dump, do it in animation. This is when they're like, oh, he's a fairy prince. He was human for one day. He got your mom pregnant. He's gone. She's gone, whatever. And then here you go. Yeah, and then honestly, like nothing happens for a while. Like they fight some pirates. Then Hook leaves, and they see the
The
mermaids.
second half really drags. I mean, I was checking like the timeline when I was watching it, and I thought the first half actually flew pretty quickly.
Sure, yeah.
And then once they get to the native population and Blackbeard is like trying to find him, it really slows down.
Absolutely.
And then they introduce all the fairy mythology, and then I really fucking tuned
But
out.
they also they don't show what the journey is for Blackbeard. Like he just shows up, he finds Shmi, and he's gone for like 5 minutes, and he shows up again. I'm like, he's like, it's Hugh Jackman. Like, why are you so afraid of showing Hugh Jackman like being himself, or not himself, but like, you know what I mean, but like having fun in this movie?
Yeah, and then he ultimately meets his demise because a bunch of fairies attack him, and the ship falls down or something.
Yeah, that's how he dies. He dies from fall. Yeah, he gets shaken like a baby by all the fairies, and then the ship falls out of the air and he dies.
Well, I thought that was a missed opportunity because
Make him old and like
I wanted
fall
them,
to dust.
I wanted them to do like a Last Crusade type thing where he's being attacked by the fairies, and then he's like, and he's like turning old as the fairies are attacking him.
Yeah. And then final act, he's bald. Colin Farrell as Bullseye in Daredevil, 2003. And it's like the exact same design for some reason. They go on a journey. They see I guess they see the giant crocodile get saved by the mermaids.
Yeah, Cara Delevingne.
It's Cara Delevingne, and then we're in the final act.
And Hook is like horny.
Hook's
for the mermaids.
really, she's like, I like them. I'm like, what?
And Pete's like, I think you like him. And so he's like also horny, but then Tiger Lily is there.
And she's also horny.
Who Hook has been like pining after the whole movie, but he suddenly drops that. He's like, oh, where are your
5
guys?
sisters.
He's like, oh my god. Like, hey, no, don't go away. And that's the last we see of
Yeah, and then Hook does the Han Solo. I'm leaving for the third act, but you know I'll be back.
Yeah, he shows up. I thought you didn't believe any of this. He's like, well, I guess.
Maybe I believe in Tiger Lily. Whatever.
And then the movie kind of ends.
And yeah, and then they're in a cave, and Tim and Tiger Lily, and throughout the reveal, Tinkerbell's here. Tink,
Tink,
and she's just like a CGI blob. Like you don't even like see what she looks like.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought she was like gonna be in the movie, so I was like, oh, okay.
Well, it's hard to top Julia Roberts,
She's Tinkerbell and Hook.
bro.
Wow.
Lots to discuss about Hook.
Yeah, so then they're in the final act, and it's these two ships just kind of smashing against each other, and it's gray sludge, and all the fairies are just like little CGI the particles.
Turds.
Yeah, and I guess Peter Pan himself has powers to like shoot the fairies because he shoots them. Oh yeah,
he uses it like an airbender, like a water bender. He like opens his palms and like thrusts his hand forward, and then the fairy stream attacks Blackbeard.
Yeah,
and
they were like, I guess, oh well, he's got to have something for the third act. Something.
They're thinking
something to sell it.
You know what they're thinking?
What?
Sequel.
Oh, absolutely.
Pan 2.
Well, and that's what I was also so...
Pan 2, Pantera.
There's like so many hijinks in this movie. It's just like, it's the same beat over and over again for like an hour and 50 minutes. It's crazy, actually.
And I mean, we were getting down to the wire. It was like 12 minutes left. And I was waiting for fucking Hook to lose his hand.
Yeah.
Hook to have some, I thought, in my mind, you lose Tiger Lily because Tiger Lily's not Tiger Lily. Tiger Lily can be someone else, and she dies. And that breaks Hook's heart, and then he turns evil.
Mm-hmm. Or also,
Unless that was going to happen.
He's like not greedy. Like, the whole thing, Captain Hook, he's a bad guy. He's greedy. He's a pirate. He's just a good guy. Like, you don't even get like a hint of like the selfishness because he comes back very quickly to save them. He's gone for like 40 minutes. Like, that means like he flew off and he turned around. And he's like, oh, damn it.
Come on, Shmi.
I got to go back. But also, he didn't have Shmi because Shmi, or they have Shmi?
I don't know.
I think Shmi vanishes for the last like 45 minutes of the movie too. It's very bizarre.
Which is fine.
Yeah, because he sucks.
Which is frankly fine.
Yeah.
But
and then they also and then you see his mother. She's a fairy now, and you see Amanda Seyfried. But it was in the wide shot for so long that I could not tell it was Amanda Seyfried. So she was like, "You have my eyes." And I'm like, "You are like 1 inch on my screen right now. I have no idea what you look like." And then finally, after like a minute of this like holding in the wide, they cut to a close up, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's Amanda Seyfried, but she's all weird CGI and small."
I do wish that I had seen this in a theater.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. It probably looked better in the theater.
It does have like a.
It feels like a streaming movie though too. You know.
Yeah, it has like a ride element to it.
Yeah. And then they go back to the orphanage and they beat the shit out of the nuns and they save the boys and those are lost boys, I guess. That now, or I guess.
Yeah, one of the references that they make is, Hook's like, this boy's lost. He's lost, this boy. And then Smee's like, he's a lost boy. And then it's like, take a shot. Like, you could take a shot every time they make these dumb references.
Also, like, Shmi's like an aviator? Like, because he has on, like,
He's got, like, those snivelly glasses and the snivelly mustache.
But he has, like, the aviator, like, hat. Like, he's...
Yeah.
Like, he's, like wearing the Snoopy hat. Like, when he was versus the Red Baron. But Shmi...
And then Mary, as we said, his mother's like, my Peter. Pause. My Peter Pan.
So his last name
Another
is Pan?
shot.
His last name is Pan, or was he named after the flute? Like,
no,
like what's
he is the Pan.
Oh, he's the Pan. Okay, yeah, whatever. I don't care.
Pan's not on his birth certificate.
Yeah, he
or like
probably doesn't have one even.
When Peter finally
orphan,
right? When Peter finally flies at the end and almost drops him, Hook's like, you don't have to crow about it. Another shot at that moment.
I did watch 21 Jump Street last night, and weirdly, it's kind of a good double feature for that because there's a whole sequence where he takes drugs auditions for Peter Pan. He's like, I'm just the cleverest fellow I know.
So that's your relationship with Peter Pan. Is Jonah Hill
in 21 Jump Street doing that?
That's
yeah, honestly, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well,
and then at the end, they call him Captain Hook, and then Captain Hook does the whole follow the star, second to the right, straight on till morning. And then
he's the Captain Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean, kind of like,
where are we going?
We're on our way.
Yeah. So, do you have any fun facts about the production of this movie?
I have facts. They're not fun.
Hit me with them.
I thought this one was fake. I had to do like a second look up about it, but Javier Bardem was offered the role of Blackbeard. Which I thought was interesting.
So then he chose to be in Pirates 5.
Yeah. When did Pirates 5 come out?
2017.
So it was right around the corner.
Yeah. He was like, damn, I gotta be Captain Salazar.
Is he good in Pirates 5?
No.
I
mean, he's good because he's Javier Bardem, but like, no.
Yeah. The screen... I also didn't believe this. The screenplay for this film was featured in the 2013 Blacklist.
Well, okay. I do some insight on this. So I mentioned before, there was a Robin Hood movie from 2010, directed by Ridley Scott, and that was originally going to be like a twist on Robin Hood, where he was more seen as a vigilante. He was more of like a villain, and it was from it was written around the Sheriff of Nottingham. So they were very interested in this time in like reinventing these like old stories and IPs. So for example, like I think that movie went through like 5 or 6 different writers, like just tons of rewrites, because at the end of the day, like, people don't really want this to be like a daring thing, you know? So this is so I would say probably about, it was a daring movie. It was something, like very inventive, a new spin on Peter Pan. But then, the more you get involved and the more studio notes come in and the more people come in to rewrite it, it just becomes incomprehensible. And that's what happened to Robin Hood.
It's kind of like a game of telephone.
Yeah, because there's like there were at points like 5 or 6 different people like took cracks at the script at least. It's the ones that are on Wikipedia,
Yeah. The film had a budget of $150 million.
Doesn't show.
It really doesn't. And domestically, it only grossed 35.
Wow.
That is tough.
Wow.
And when it was all said and done, the film only made $128 million. So it didn't even reach 150.
So that probably lost about $180 million.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
I guess that made Hugh Jackman. So honestly, that's probably why he was like, I gotta do Logan.
Yeah. I mean, I look at a lot of the videos of him on the red carpet for Pan, and he's like signing Wolverine.
Sure.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So still is a huge star.
Yeah, I mean, he had Greatest Showman also, that was also 2017, same year as Logan. So he was making hits, but he needed a comeback, definitely.
Joe Wright said that he made this movie for his son, Zubin.
Oh, so, Zubin Wright.
I'm sorry for Zubin.
You're lying. He's lying. He doesn't have a kid. He was like, oh, so why'd you make this like piece of shit? And he was like looking around and he saw like he's like a Zumba class. He was like, oh, I'm making it for Zubin Wright.
He was
My
eating, he was
my
eating
son who loves Peter Pan. He's 30.
Joe Wright was munching on a Reuben, and he was like, Zubin.
Yeah. And we're at the zoo doing press for Pan.
But he kind of has a comeback a few years later with Darkest Hour, which was a huge Oscar movie.
Never saw.
I saw it, but like a lot of his
But
stuff,
did you watch it?
a lot of his stuff is like... It's the-
Oscar bait stuff?
It's like that British...
But that being said, Atonement rocks. Atonement's incredible.
Atonement is pretty cool. Rooney Mara later regretted playing Tiger Lily.
I did see that.
And,
Well, she was like, no.
Oh, here she says...
I stand by it.
She says, I really hate that I'm on that side of the whitewashing conversation. I really do. I don't ever want to be on that side again. I can understand why people were upset and frustrated. Do I think of the 4 main people in the film should have been white with blonde hair and blue eyes? No.
Nope. Look,
So,
that does remind me of the Bo Burnham joke. The fact that, like, he did offensive shit, but, like, he didn't know he would live to have it be an issue, pretty much. So, like, it's not like she's, like, regretful. And maybe she is. I don't know. But I was thinking of, like, like, Ed Skrein, who played the villain in Deadpool, and then he was cast as Ben Daimo.
okay.
And that's an Asian man. And Ed Skrein is a white man. And he was like, I actually don't want to do this role. There's no point in me even, like, in doing this. So he was like, okay, yeah, like, you should maybe not have me be in this movie. And he dropped out himself.
Wow.
So she probably, like, had the opportunity to do that, but she was like, no. And then later she was like, I don't want to get in trouble anymore. I didn't like being in trouble. I don't want to be on that.
I'm gonna go back to my low budget, mid budget dramas.
And I'm gonna marry Joker, baby.
Are they still together?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. He
That's
sucks.
that's all I got though.
Actually, I don't think he sucks. I'm just mad that he dropped out of Tanhays.
Oh, which was shaping up to be like a great fucking movie.
Yeah, whatever. We didn't see it because it didn't get made. Thanks, Joaquin.
Our companion pod didn't see it because it didn't
It
fucking get made.
didn't happen, yeah. We could do like 15 movies on Guillermo del Toro's projects. He has so many of those.
Unmade stuff?
So many. Yeah.
Why isn't he not just like cranking shit out
He's
every
doing
year?
Frankenstein.
But that's all I got for some facts.
Yeah. How about your Slate Rex?
Oh yeah, I've got some slate recs. As we've discussed on the show, I like to watch a movie and then put it in context with other films, kind of pair it with like, a meal and a glass of wine type mentality.
Charcuterie board.
Yeah. So as we've already kind of talked about, Hook, Steven Spielberg's 1991, I believe.
Written by Carrie Fisher. But that's like not like known. Like she came in and rewrote a lot of it.
Oh, okay, cool. But the biggest polar opposite is that Hook is an incredibly practical film, like shot on sound stages, real sets. Everything feels very like you can touch it, very in that cool way. Also, Robin Williams as Peter Pan, Dustin Hoffman as Hook,
Julia Roberts, Tinkerbell.
Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell, Bob Hoskins as Smee. Dude,
You keep selling me. I love
I can't
Hoskins.
believe you haven't seen this. It's got a John Williams score riffing on Peter Pan.
Well, I would say my dad was 30 years old when that movie came out, so it was not one that he knew or he watched, so I was not like exposed to it like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, my parents were old for that too. I don't know where I would have seen it. I think it was a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
But I just loved it. I mean, it has some... Dame Maggie Smith. The late, great Maggie Smith is in it. Anyway, another one I have here is Pink Floyd, The Wall. Another story about a child affected by the events of World War II.
Okay.
And maybe goes towards an imaginary way to cope with the trauma of World War II.
Yeah, okay.
That's my sell.
Yeah, and honestly, this is a good movie. So you should just
Also,
you should just see The Wall instead of watching Pan.
So if Pan had anything close to the imaginary elements of The Wall, we'd all be happier.
Yeah.
And a movie I just rewatched recently is Hoodwinked, which also takes liberties with fairy tales and different stories of
but like in a fun way.
Oh, it's one of the funniest like children's animated films, and it's kind of like riffing off like what Shrek does, but Hoodwink clearly has half the budget that Shrek had, so the animation is literally dog shit. But the voice acting is really good. The script is really sharp and funny.
Yeah, because that is an interesting thing about this movie is like there is clearly some fun to be had. But like, you know, I mean, when I saw it, I was like, oh, the teen spirit thing is like weird and in such a funny and interesting and fun way to me. And then it just loses that. I'm like, I thought there were ways to make this more fun and more vibrant. And instead, it's
That's
just
a
like we
good
said,
word, vibrant.
it's slop, it's sludge, it's hard to get through. It's so boring. It's unfunny. It's uninteresting. And that kind of goes into what I would say. Do you wish you never saw it, or are you glad we watched it?
My answer is wish I never saw it. Wish I watched Hook instead.
I have the same exact answer.
I really want to give these movies,
Yeah.
some. I guess just give them a shot generally because
Yeah.
no one else is.
Yeah.
No one has this logged on LB.
Yeah, nobody.
Nobody is looking to watch it
Yeah.
in the future, and I'm here to tell you that you shouldn't.
Yeah. So everyone on Letterboxd was actually correct.
Yes.
And we're the insane ones for doing it. Maybe let's watch a good movie next week. Let's try to find a hidden gem.
We'll find a gem.
Yeah. Find a gem for everybody. All right. Well, that is our review or discussion on Pan 2015. Thank you for listening to Shelf Warmers. New episodes drop every Wednesday. You can follow us on social media at shelfwarmers.podcast, where you can send us movies to take off the shelf for future episodes.